So if we're going to texture an object in Quixel Mixer, we actually have to do a little bit more work to make it ready for Quixel Mixer. So Quixel Mixer is free. It's easy to download. You download it through an Epic login, Epic game engine. But the first thing we need to do is we need to set up, because it has a little bit of a more difficult way of identifying these shells of like how we were painting in these masks. So what we're going to do is set up a material ID map. So again, I have my barrel selected. I want to do image UV snapshot, and I'm just going to call this barrel, apply and close. And then in my images, I have my barrel file here, and I'm just going to quickly take this into Photopea and drag this in here. And what we need to do is just make a map that says which area is what, right? So I'm going to create one area here, and I'm just going to highlight everything that is wood. So all of that area that's wood, and I'll just paint that green. Okay, so I can use the fill bucket there, just paint that green, right? Create another layer, select everything everywhere behind this. We'll paint that red. There we go. Go and put that green layer above it. And one more layer here, and that is to identify these two little knobs down here that are going to give us that little plug that goes in the side of the barrel. So I select that, and I'll paint that, let's say blue. So I'm really just using these colors. I didn't get everything there, did I? I'm just using these colors to identify which pieces are wood, which pieces are metal, and which pieces are the other kind of wood, right? And so now you can kind of tell that with this map. And this is called a material ID map. So I'm going to go File, Export as PNG, Save, and I'll call this barrel. Barrel ID. Save. Okay. So now Quixel Mixer. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. It will probably ask you to log in using an Unreal, like an Epic login account. And so if you don't have one of those from like a Principles of Game Design class or something like that, you'll need to make one. But for the most part, it works very similarly to Substance Painter. All right, there we go. So we're going to create a new project. We'll call this barrel. And then we're going to add a new mix. We'll call this barrel as well. And then once this opens, it works a little bit different. I don't import anything in. I go to my setup and I change my model settings. And we're going to choose a custom model. And so that'll let me point to that barrel FBX file that we exported out for Substance. And it'll bring it in. And it should work, for the most part, the same. One more thing I need to do, though, is I need to reference in that material ID. So before I do that, though, I'll show you what happens if we don't have it. So I can do, just like in Substance, I can drag a wood on here, and you'll see that I get this full wood material. And then let's say I drag a, let's try this one with scratched metal, and we'll put this on top, and it loads it up. For some reason, the metal ones are not coming in with all of this stuff turned on. So let me go ahead and turn on metals, so the things that are important there. And so here's the problem, is that the mask painting option doesn't work the same. So if I wanted to mask out this metal just so I can see the wood underneath it, I can do a paint mask, but it's very hard to paint it. It's very like soft brush. I could try to do it in my 2D view, but you can't really see the you can't really see the UVs as well, and so painting it is like pretty hit or miss. So what we'll do instead is we'll delete that mask, go back to the 3D view, and instead we're going to add an ID mask. And so you'll see that I get this error, load ID maps in the texture set editor. So if I click that, texture sets, and what I want to see is down here where it says material ID. And if I click that and choose that barrel ID, you'll see that I now get these little check boxes over here. And essentially those color box that we made can now be used as masks. So if I say blue, I'm just going to see that on the parts that I painted blue. If I say green, I'm just going to see it on the parts I painted green, but it's actually red. Red is what we want. And so I could do yet another wood material on here. Let's do this one. This is nice. Maybe something like that. And so maybe I want that to be the wood for the barrel, the dark wood to be the little knob there. So again, add a mask layer, choose that. And so for the most part, that seems to have masked everything out pretty well. Last little thing I do want to look at though, I'm not crazy about the direction this wood is flowing. And so that's going to be under placement here. And so I can pull this back and rotate that way. I may even do it with the metal here as well, get like a different rotation on it. Not sure that that's really mattering too much there. So once I get all of that, I should then be able to, and this will also, if I want to change the lighting scenario so I can see what it looks like in different lighting, you can see all of that. The lighting and rendering here is not as nice as it is in Substance, but it gives us a good idea. Whenever we're ready, I can export those maps out in the same way. And so I don't really need to export the model. I really just need to export the barrel. I will put this in my sources, and I will just call this alt new. So we'll put it there, select folder, and then whenever I'm ready, I can go to File, Quick Export. And so that should kick that out and give us the files that we need to plug into Maya. And you will see alt barrel. There is all of our materials that I exported out. So then I can plug those textures into Maya just like we did in Substance.